You ready?
I think so.
Just a
Yeah.
moment.
So let's try this again.
Let me know when we're live.
We are now.
Oh, we're live? All
Yeah,
right,
I told
guys.
you
Well, we're
already.
back for the second time today. How have you been, guys? Listen, Steph, did I tell you this? Did I show you this?
No,
This is
never.
my new hat.
Nice.
It's my mushroom hat, dude. I got a
Uh,
mushroom hat.
how did you get it?
It's
I thought there was
so,
some big.
but I think it's a little bit smallish. Like, I think it's not my size, but it's okay. It's stretchy. Mushrooms stretch, man, and they
How did
fit
you get it?
everything. I'll stay like this. It's better.
How did you get
This
it?
side. Oh shit! Look at this.
Can you hear me?
Look at this. Anyway, so I got it from Romania. So there's this in Transylvania. There's this group of people that do these hats, and they make them from mushrooms. This is from a special type of mushroom that grows on trees, like these big ass mushrooms that grow on trees, and they collect them and they stretch them out somehow. I mean, I don't know the specifics. You can find more information online, but I wrote to them like last year, and I waited for a really long time, maybe like 4 months in line, because they
Yeah.
get like now it's pretty popular because of Paul Stamets and other people, and so it's difficult to get in line, to
But what is so nice
get.
about it?
Oh, it's just unique. I mean, it's an
Uh,
old craft. It's like a
nice.
super old shit, and it's
Yeah, I saw it.
I
The
mean,
guy
it's
was in on Rogan, right?
yeah,
Long,
yeah,
long
that
ago.
guy. He's wearing one of those, and you can get like different models, and I mean, there's other like types of things, maybe underwear that will release soon, maybe other things. But anyway, what's up with you, man? How's it going?
I don't know. I'm just dying. Maybe I have the virus. I don't know.
Yeah, you told me this. You're not feeling well.
No,
How are
I
you
feel
doing?
well. I'm just tired. And maybe
Tired.
that's how the virus works with me. They say it's different for everyone, right? I hope
Yeah, maybe like 20% don't have symptoms, and like 0.001% just get tired of life and die.
Yeah.
Well, we have like many things to discuss, but maybe we can talk about like first we had one more person to comment besides Orilux, who Orilux, one of our biggest friends, associates, partners, fans of anything, and we had one more. What was the name of the girl? Do you have it open somewhere? Can you open the video from the?
Of course, I remember her name by heart. Have to
Yeah.
marry her now. Remember? No, I don't. Annie? I think Annie. No. Shit. Anyway. Uh, let's check. And uh, I'm sorry, I'm not very fast. In it's
No, it's all right.
Annie Dimitrova.
Just save the progress. Ani, what?
What does it matter? Dimitrova.
Ani,
She'll be
thank you, Ani.
Avramova.
Thank you for the comments. So Ani was very nice. She wrote some nice things to us, and we want to thank you. And if you're watching, thank you again for writing. And you see, guys, we take it personally. I promise, until like the 1 millionth comment, we're gonna talk about it every time. Every time someone comments, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, we're at one,
Um,
so now it's left to the million. We're almost there.
yeah. Oh. Well, how are you? Like, are you still going to work? Are you still driving there? What are you doing? Or whatever, you
I,
taking the bus or?
yeah, I started. I mean, I was going with the bike last week, but now the snow fell and killed us all, and I'm going with the car now. But
Dude,
yeah,
man,
snow.
you're irresponsible. Usually you're more responsible than me, but I feel like this time maybe you're irresponsible. You should be staying home,
Why?
in my opinion. Well, you're not feeling well. You said
Ah,
you're not feeling well.
no, but I'm going with the car. Like I'm just going from the car to the entrance. How can I? But I don't think it's
Yeah, but still, isn't it like
irresponsible.
a
It's
waste of
irresponsible
time?
if everyone did it. It's only me. I don't know.
Like some people wrote about this. Some people said, you know, maybe that's a nice opportunity for companies to rethink the whole remote working thing, which
Yeah, but
like
you know, if
shouldn't be.
but if everyone is super safe and no one is spreading the virus, which is impossible, you know that. But I
Yeah.
mean, the best way to end this is somewhere in the middle. It's of course no one will. I mean, it's possible for no one to spread, but like if no one gets the virus, like we won't get the immunity. After we go out again, it will be somewhere there, and it will again spread.
Yeah.
So it should just spread a bit, just bit by bit, so we don't overwhelm the healthcare system. Otherwise, we're doomed. They extended it by 1 month today.
So you're saying you're helping actually
I'm
people
saying it's
by
not
going
bad.
out.
Yeah, maybe I'm helping. Of course, they should thank me afterwards. No, but um, yeah, I think I don't know. It's dumb to say anything because if I say I'm helping, what doesn't make sense. If everyone is helping, then everyone will die. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm the chosen one. No, I mean it's fine now because
Mm.
not everyone is home. There are some people around walking around. It's not super blocked yet.
Right.
So not I mean I'm not any bit. I'm just a mathematician. But the way I see it, that's the best case right now to pass it. I mean anything else they do more or less, it will get worse. But
But we were talking
actually, no
with
one
you that
knows what
maybe it seems
happened.
like
They're
it,
just playing it safe, and
mm.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe we don't have enough data. I mean, I
It's
don't
been out
know.
for a
Maybe
month
it's. I
now.
mean, at the beginning we didn't have.
How many data more?
But we were talking maybe like maybe looking at this website that you said is your like your Facebook now with the graphs. What was the name of the website? I don't know.
It's I
Like
have
if
it
you Google
open.
Corona numbers or
I'm
whatever,
looking
the
at it
first thing
right
is
now. It's world. I mean, it's the top
yeah.
one in Google. Yeah, the one on the top.
Right. So this one like looking at the worst hit countries like Spain, Italy, it seems like maybe the curve is
Yeah,
flattening
it's
or maybe
flattening
even
for
we're
sure.
over the peak, kind of goes down
But
a little bit.
flattening doesn't mean
So
yeah
maybe
we have to go out again. There is still we have to wait more.
no, it's not about going out. It's about like maybe I don't know, predicting how much longer will we be.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, let's see what
It should be
happens.
different for every
We don't know.
country, but yeah,
Uh,
it's weird.
you know, what were we supposed to talk about now? What do you want to talk about? There's so many things.
Millions. I don't know. Wanted to talk about happiness and our your. I mean, it was our, but now it's just your addiction. This fucking game.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Why did you bail on this?
because I
What
thought
happened? Why did you give up?
for it. Sorry, the thing is, first I want to talk about. Again, I want to bring this book. Fuck. I mean, this this OBS is so weird. Again, I guess the connection is doing weird things and it
Oh
resizes.
shit! I can still. I don't know if the people can see this, but because we're having a conversation over Skype, I can see your TV screen. I see. I think Brasilia there, but I'm not sure what he's talking about because there's a thumbnail, but it's paused and I don't see the thumbnail, but I see him.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
him.
Brasilia?
Yeah, I was watching him. His last episode. He released today. The thing is, yeah, I want to talk about this because it's related to your problem and mine a week ago.
Yeah.
It's this like this book called Flow, the experience, the optimal experience. The how do we? Why is it called flow? It's called this. That's how the author calls this condition where your whole mind and everything goes into flow mode, which means you completely like
Or
for
in the zone,
yeah
as you
or a
said. Is
zone.
the flow the
Yeah,
same
I
as the
think
zone?
so. It's like where
Okay.
it's called like also optimal experience because you forget about like everything else. You're just living for this thing that's taking your whole energy and makes you go
Okay.
into this floating. Like you, thing is, he calls it optimal experience because that's when you're happiest. It's your highest. Like because that's what the like you've heard this. Oh my god, time passed so fast. This means that it was you were happy during that time, right? So the thing is, there are so
Sure.
many ways that you can experience that. I mean, uh, hopefully everyone has experienced it at some point. But I remember long ago. The thing is, uh, first you need like three things: feedback, progress, and something else. I forgot the third one. The thing is that with what was our problem? It was so easy to experience this state with games because they provide like everything straight out of for nothing. You don't do anything. It uh, you feel that while playing, right? This
What do you mean they give you everything without nothing? I don't.
because it's all kind of a delusion. I think we played this Witcher game, right? So
Yeah.
you have this character where you it gives you this, so you have to do this. This is your task, and you start doing it. There's some challenge in it because your character is not yet strong. You start at first level, whatever. You start fighting some
Hmm.
monsters.
Hmm.
So
I remember that part.
so yeah, that's the thing. You have a challenge. You have a goal that you have to achieve, and you have constant feedback. Like, are you doing well or not? And this puts your mind in this condition where it's kind of time just stops. You stop feeling it. It just for you just passing by every like you play for 8 hours. It's like nothing. It's like a
Yeah.
travel through time, and then like, in the end of it, it's like, what the fuck did I do? I remember this
Yeah.
like when I was in high school, and I loved it actually because I mean when I was I was this competitor in programming, and
Yeah.
when I was solving these tasks, I mean that's the example I can give that it was helpful for me because I was going into this, and I was just there was only this task that I had to solve, and I would just think about it, and like there was always some challenge, and always some like again the feedback that I was getting right away. And the thing is that that's kind of we have this biological. It's in our biology, I think, whatever. It's this mechanism to make us progress, to become better at stuff, you know. But the fucked up thing is with this fucking game, man. And almost all of these games, they know about it, and they put these mechanisms inside, and it's fucking waste of time.
Yeah. It's not just the games. It's like many people try to exploit these principles in marketing different products and services, and making them addictive, like apps and whatever. Like Tinder is also has this element of like
No, that's
or any
completely
app for
different.
that matter.
No, it's a whole of like at the end of it you can say like I've been there. Like this took me 3 hours and it happened. Like there are many examples. Like for example, climbing a mountain. There's just this peak and you just walk and walk and walk and walk. There is like no,
Mm.
you don't think about anything else except like there's this path and you walk on these rocks, whatever they are. And in the end, you
Yeah.
again it's the same thing. You have some challenge and it's and you get constant feedback. You know
So I
where,
think with the games, yeah, they're good at replacing
yeah,
these peaks all the time. So there's always another peak, but yeah.
yeah. And the thing
And
is,
in
it
life,
makes you
it's more
happy. You feel
difficult to.
happy. You know, you do feel happy while playing it.
Yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
is, the problem is that it's not real. In the end of it, you press exit
Right,
and
right, right.
you're back
Right.
here. You're back in this in your life.
Yeah. No, for sure. With games, I think that's a great topic now because now, like a lot of people are playing games now with the pandemic and everything, staying home. And I'm happy that it's like it's almost over with this game. Like today, I didn't play until now. I just started now, but I'm happy that I'm almost done with it because the thing is, well, they are addictive, and especially for people who are with addictive personalities, they could be a problem. And I think Joe Rogan was talking about it too. Like he was talking like many years ago, he was like playing a lot of games, and but in general, like he's a competitive person, so that also is an aspect. Like he was just talking that like at some point he was a lot into like billiards and like whatever you call this. So he was getting like super competitive and into that, and then it was computer games um, and I find that for people who have that aspect, that element in them, this addictive personality, it's all about like finding an addiction that's productive. That like if you have this personality to get
I don't
into
think
the
it's
zone with
about
something
personality.
else.
Everyone has it. It just
Oh yeah, with games, yeah, but I mean in general, like or maybe you're saying that everyone has it, but they haven't discovered the thing that makes them like that. Is that what you're saying? Or?
yeah, maybe if you haven't, yeah, then you haven't. But the thing is, it's in our that's how we're programmed in our genes. It makes sense for it to be like that. You know, like
Yeah,
when
for
you're a
sure.
baby, when you're a child, that's how you that's
And
how
I
you
feel like
experience
with this
life, you know.
game, with these games, but in particular, like with a game like The Witcher, it's so interesting because, like, imagine like if you're really herbally infused or even on other substances and you're playing this and you really think about it hard, you realize the irony in this because, like, evolutionary, when you mentioned this, we have been, well, we've been living in this world and we evolved in conditions where, like, our brain is wired in such a way that we can see things depending on color, on speed, on how they're moving, on distance. We can measure them. We can assign priorities and values to them, put them in hierarchies. Like you see a deer and you say that's the target, and now you go after that deer, you kill it, you eat it. Then the next day you go after another one. That's another target, right? Or then you have kids to feed. And then in the game, you chase deers, right? I mean, we've made a full circle. It was millions of years of evolution to get to the point where you sit in the comfort of your house. Most people don't have to worry about being poor to the point of starvation, and they're hunting deers on their computers. It's funny, but it's true.
And
And we still have these desires
the thing
mentally.
is, it's what bugs me about this game, and actually, Diablo is a much better example because you start the game with some like let's say whatever some stick and you hit some frog and like it's just a stick and it's just a frog, so you just hit it,
Yeah,
and it's like a weak frog and a weak stick, so it dies like in like 3 hits or whatever. Then
yeah,
you stumble upon a deer and like, what the fuck, I just have this stick, I should get a wooden sword because it won't kill the deer. And it's again, you get the sword and you just again go to it, and again it's now it's up to your challenge, so again you have to hit it 3 times because now it's fine again. The thing is, it's always the same. Like there is no
right.
progress in your actions, but still it kind of triggers it because oh my god, there's like a bear next, so I have to get a metal sword now for this bear. But it's again the same action, you go and hit it 3 times, like it's no different than the frog that
Yeah.
you start. But
I find that especially with RPGs, it's interesting because they're interesting study in many ways. You can try to see like how you play, what is your style, to try to learn something about yourself from the games, but you can also learn about like people in general because RPGs are supposedly made to emulate life to the fullest, right? With The Witcher, like, it can do a lot of things, and it's an open world game. You go around, do whatever. So, like, it's interesting how they oversimplify things, but they oversimplify principles that we recognize to be like true in life. Like, this principles of progression, of like skill and acquiring. Like, okay, I get this, then the reward is this, then that allows me to get to this, and then you get a better sword, a better sword, a better sword, or a better skill, a better skill. And then you have to choose like which path to progress, like what skill to assign more value to, and depending on your style. And I don't know, I'm just trying to think how can this be productive and in some way. And you're done with the game, you don't play it, for example, but how can you learn from that experience? Or maybe you can, maybe it's not about that, maybe it's just stupid, maybe it's like an imitation of life, and doesn't really give any more value than that.
yeah, but the thing is, like,
Do you have a point with this, or do you just have these random
no, I'm
observations?
just trying
Are you going
to
in some
show you
direction?
to cure your addiction, to show you that.
Yeah, my addiction is cured, man. Like, yesterday I played a lot and I shouldn't, and I was very disappointed in myself, and now I won't. So today I did a lot of useful things, and then I'm not gonna.
The thing is, right
No
before that, I
promise.
was playing this Diablo clone. I mean, not right, but like 1 month ago, I started the same because I usually don't play games. So last time I played games was long ago. I just started again because of this situation. The thing is, I started playing
Yeah.
this one that was actually a Diablo clone, or like the new version of Diablo. It's called like Path of Exile. And at some point, yeah, I was getting also like
Hmm.
addicted, and then I thought, wait a minute, what am I doing? So I just thought about this book, and it made much sense that it applies the same principles, but in this thing that's not actually real, and it kind of puts
Yeah, let's get to that, to the useful
everything
part.
in.
Like, how do you get these principles from that book? What is the conclusion of this guy? How do you get into the zone with the thing that you identify as meaningful for your life? Or what is his prescription? What is his conclusion in this
His
book?
conclusion is that first you have to recognize it, like what. what is the feeling during that? Uh, it's like we when we are at work now. I can say I'm not in flow right now. Actually, maybe for the last 3 years, and that's fucked up because I go and I don't. It's not like time passes super fast. I'm not learning much there. I've reached my maximum. I'm just there for the money right now, which is dumb. But the thing is, that's something to strive for. I know that after this, when I'm done with hoarding or whatever I'm doing, I don't know. Maybe that's I should read something else about that. But people should look for this getting in because that's how you progress. That's how you progress in the game too. Uh,
Yeah.
you forget like time. You don't think about oh I'm I don't want to do this anymore. You know, you just you're constantly engaged in this progression, and in the end, yeah, you feel like you have progressed because the game gives you feedback. It tells you like, okay, this you did that all right. You became better at this thing, but it's just in that game there it's just some numbers that are bytes in your memory.
So what are some useful like you mentioned you mentioned
The thing is
the
that you have
feeling
to,
that
yeah, there has to be some challenge first. It has to first you shouldn't be doing something that you've done like a million times and you know that you can do that. Uh,
yeah, it
but
can be
it
too
should
easy, but
it
it shouldn't
shouldn't
be
be
too
also
hard
too
either,
hard
right?
because this will make you give up right away. And it should provide you like constant you should be always aware that you're progressing. You shouldn't be like doing something in the blind without
Right. So that about that I want to ask. So what is a good source of feedback? Like how do you get it? Like what are good examples of that
uh
in life, in real life?
well like with maybe for example like playing guitar. That's one example. Like you can get a system where first you start with some simple scales or chords or whatever, and you know what you have to do. You have to play that, and just practice until you do. Like it should be just a bit above your level. And also because I also when I played guitar, that was the second time of my life afterwards. I mean the productive part after the competitions too with guitar. Uh, was also playing like for so many hours every day. And because I was there was again the time disappeared. It was again this flow like flow mode.
Yeah.
Uh, but again, that's the thing. There was feedback. I could hear myself. There was I could say that I was doing
But is that only
better.
is that the only feedback, or isn't part of I don't know because I haven't read the book. I don't know how he like what how he defines it. But does that include other people, or should it include other people, or some sort of recognition from the
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
world,
it
from the
can. Yeah,
community, or for whatever? Like for example, when you're winning the awards you get, or whatever
yeah, it can.
actually
This is very
winning the
abstract. Yeah,
competitions.
winning is also a feedback. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's more of a reward, but
Yeah, because I was thinking about the same. There's a lot of that's a very big question. It's a huge one, and I'm thinking about it all the time. And now you know about it. Like we don't talk about we talk about we're pretty honest on this, but we don't talk about everything because out of context it's not really useful for people, not for any other reason. But I'm doing this spreadsheet now. As a matter of fact, today I got back to this. Remember, Jordan Peterson had this self-authoring program he was talking about like years ago. And there's a website. I bought this a long time ago, and I almost finished it, but I never quite finished it. And I got back to it today because it saves your progress, like what you write there, and you can go revisit and you can rewrite and you can change it. And the whole idea of it is it's a very good idea, and I recommend this. You don't have to buy it. You can apply the principles that are embedded in it on your own, but it's based on a very simple principle, which is some people have a difficulty. You told me about this book about slow and fast thinking. You read
yeah,
that too,
it was
right?
also great. Yeah.
So some people have difficulty with thinking about the long run, the long term, and like slow thinking.
No, no, no.
And
That's not that.
it's
It's not.
easier.
That's not fast and slow.
No, 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 no. But
Ah,
I'm talking about different things. So I'm trying to say that some people find it easier to think when they write their thoughts. That's the principle of this self-authoring program. Just really, really oversimplifying it right now. But the principle is like you have a problem and you think about it, you think about it, it's on the back of your mind, even when you're not like setting aside time to think about it. But if you sit down and you start writing, sometimes it's better. It helps you organize your thoughts and you see things, and sometimes something obvious that you missed comes out. And in that program, you have like three parts, and you have the past, present, and the future authoring. Authoring in the sense like you author your own life. That's the premise of it. Like you're the author of your life, you write about your life. So it's a planning exercise where you plan things out, right? So the the order in which you do them, it's not important. It's like one of those psychological tests, but instead of getting an actual answer like, okay, you're 60% extrovert, you're 30% introvert, whatever, you get the answers that you get are coming from yourself. Like the summary is your own words, and it works in a very simple way. Like everyone uses these principles when you plan anything, but in a very organized and meticulous and focused way, like that. For example, you're saying, okay, I'm not very particularly happy with my life at the moment. It could be one aspect of it. It could be, for example, the career. So you're thinking, I'm not very happy with my career. Okay. So identify it like a perfect world in which you're happy with it. Okay, so describe that world. Okay, so now break it down in pieces and describe these pieces. Okay, now break down. Now, for every of these pieces, what is the opposite? Like, what is the example of the exact opposite of this beautiful world, right? Okay, so there's that. So now, how do you get to the beautiful part? Well, I do this and this. How do you prevent getting to the bad part? Well, by not doing this and this. Okay, how do you measure the fact that you're doing this and this? Well, by achieving this and this and this. So eventually you break it down in so much detail, but with your own words, with your own ways of prioritizing and finding out solutions, that at the end you have a very, very good solution. Remember, we're talking about being teachers, right? In school, I've had many cases where I remember as a kid, like the teacher is asking a question. It's like, hey, kids, how about this? And the kids don't know the answer. So the teacher's giving you clues, and he's like, well, what if you put this and that, and then and the kid is like, that? And the teacher's, yeah, that's exactly the answer. And the kid is not convinced because it's not convinced because the teacher kind of handed it. But when you see it, you eventually get convinced. So this exercise is like that. Maybe at the end, when you look at it, you're not convinced because it's not obvious. If it was obvious, you wouldn't need the exercise. You would come up immediately like, yeah, that's the answer to my problems. But it's not obvious. But sometimes when you look at it written down like that, really like focused thinking on it for a long time, then you get to some information maybe that you're keeping even away from yourself. So that's a very useful thing. Uh, and I'm doing this at the moment sheet where I'm like writing down stuff. So as part of it, I was also writing about like different types of motivation, which is to go back to what you were saying about the flow. That there, I find that people are making so many decisions with the wrong motivation, I think. And I understand a lot of times when responsibilities come into place, like you have family, you have kids, you have bills, you have this and that. But especially for young people who are, young, single, healthy people, I don't think you should be making decisions that affect your life based on uh, greed, based on fear, based on like socially identified priorities. Like, oh, that's what my friends do, or that's what I heard this person do. But it's difficult to mute these things, to clean those voices so you can hear your own voice. That's very difficult. And it takes a lot of time of thinking on that to get to that voice, to hear your own voice and be like, yeah, that's what I'm really thinking, and that's what I would like to do. Um, and yeah, I think people should practice this. Like they should think about that. I don't know, meditate or whatever they want to do, whatever methods they want to do this self-authoring, read books, but get to that point because you don't want to live someone else's life. You want to be the witcher. You want to be the hero of your own journey. You want to be the slayer of your own dragon, not someone else. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
actually,
interesting.
yeah, something else that was mentioned there is people they don't- they they're not they don't know what they want. Like they think they want this time and place where they'll be. they'll have no responsibilities. They'll just sit around and just rest. But they've
Right.
made experience about it. They've actually, there are these experience experiments where they give a lot of people these devices, and like at random times during the day they're like ask you, are you happy now? Because they want to measure like how during like throughout the week, like where they, because you
Okay.
can't just, the thing is there are so many problems with this question. Like you can't just ask someone on Sunday, were you happy this week? Because we have this tendency to remember just the last day or whatever. So if they were really bad on, like, today, they would say no, I feel horrible. But maybe they had a happy week. We're just saying this now. So I think that's what they did. They give these things and they have to report like on random times. And what they discovered is like
Yep.
a lot of them were actually happier during work, not when they were like at home and just lying around and doing nothing.
Mm, okay.
So as much as they complain, actually work is more helpful. Like it puts them more into this. I mean, yeah, of course, it's if it's like work that they wanna do, and then they get so engaged that they forget like how when it passes.
Yeah.
But it's very weird. Like we don't actually know what
Yeah,
the
man,
fuck we
it's
want.
we're very complicated. Like in general, people are this is very difficult. Like a lot of people complain, but then if you ask them what do you complain about, they can't answer. Or if you tell them what explain like a perfect world where you don't have this issue, they can't explain
Because
it. Or
everyone's working for retirement to just do nothing.
yeah,
That's what their whole goal is, or like they think so. Like at the end of it all, they're just this endless lying on the beach or whatever they want.
yeah, that's terrible because you know how this works. Like you know that the like real happiness comes from like competing completing these
Yeah,
obstacles, not from staying there where you killed the deer and you're staying over the body and you're laying there and eating
yeah.
deer like
This
for a
this
month.
passes
You
right
know,
away.
it's
Yeah, like
right, exactly. And then you gotta immediately have another deer, or else you kind of you're in this limbo. You're in this state of like, what the fuck am I doing now? You know, huh?
yeah,
It's interesting. I guess that's evolution, maybe. Again,
yeah, exactly.
that's maybe the fact that if you had that, you would die if you were a primitive
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
right? If you kill a deer and eat it, and then you're like, ah, and then you're dead. So you got
But I
to go
think
after
if
the
if you
next one.
were actually programmed like that, yeah, to just do nothing all day, we would never get here. We would be dead long, long, long ago. Because everyone like back in the day would just lie somewhere. Like, fuck, I don't wanna hunt this deer. I'll just sit on this rock.
Yeah, we talked about this like a long time ago. That this is again not an original thought, but like a lot of people are speculating that this is why people now are getting into these like, for example, extreme sports and like ultra marathons and stuff because life is a little bit too easy and people get like
Yeah,
you get whatever achievement you have from your job, but it's all until a certain point, and then you're like, well, life is easy, man. I'm just staying there. I got like you're saying, I got the security, I got the money, I got and then you're like, well, and then they go, well, you know what? I'm gonna like run for 100 miles and piss blood, and they do it, and it's crazy. Like we're not I mean, we've been around for millions of years, and yet every year we're breaking new records for like not even like for speed or stuff. Because okay, you can say there's new substances like performance enhancing drugs and different ways of training, but things like the amount of effort we're breaking these records, like how long we run or how high we go or how low we go. Like this is a ridiculous records to break, and people do it. Like they're almost like because if our brain is really wired this way, then there must be some systems for a reward, like endorphin based systems that like your brain rewards you immediately, like with the games.
yeah,
So if you don't have it for a long time, you get depressed. So you gotta do something to get it. So you gotta do something ridiculous to get it. If you haven't got like it bounces back and forth. Like if it's really bad, then you do something crazy the next moment.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's all I don't know. I'm also curious about like what is the balance because obviously there's responsibilities, like you can't just chase or maybe you can. I don't know. Can you like just endlessly chase this buzz from from getting something cool? Because if you do that, then there is the risk that okay, you do something, you get the buzz, and then at some point there's diminishing returns. At some point it stops giving back. So you change to the next thing, and then you have a lot of people who do this. a lot of people who do this with any aspect of their lives. For example, even relationships. You get people who are endlessly, who are always falling in love, like always like, oh my God, I love this guy, I love this girl. And then they're with them, and then it's over, and then they're with the next one, and the same thing. And like you see them in their whatever middle life, and they're older, if they can afford it, they keep chasing new people, and they're like endlessly chasing that buzz because they can never evolve to the next stage. They can never maybe um, make it to the next level. Whereas that was one stage. There's like the early levels of the game. Now we're at another stage where now things are different. Now we play the game this way. Now the rules change a little bit. Now you got to be more creative, and you got to that at the beginning you have a lot of this buzz, and you have a lot of this like moments of, if you're lucky, if you find this thing that you like, you get these moments at the beginning. They're easy to get, like you mentioned, the frog at the beginning is really easy to kill. Then eventually you get to the dragon, it's like you beat him for hours and you can't beat him, right? So then if you know uh
Yeah, but no,
I don't
no, I
know,
think
at some point.
that's means that you're not doing it right. Because you're missing some of the components. Like there has to be some challenge. Like you lose the buzz. I think when like you've done it all, or when it's the next stage, you kind of made it too hard, so you don't progress.
Right.
I think that's when you lose the buzz.
Mm. And also maybe if there's a lot of interference from other factors, like okay, there's other things, like there's other forms of motivation that kind of spoil that immediate that
No,
moment in the beginning.
that's why school is actually so great. As much as I mean, actually, didn't hate it that much, but actually, it's someone some time ago. Maybe it's not very well adjusted for today, but it's a system that you progress. You do everything. There's a plan to it all, and you also have grades, which should give you like feedback. Okay, I have
Yeah.
like an A or whatever. So and that's how you
And there's also many ways to beat that
like
game, there's
you're
ways to
shit
do
at
it like
every
that.
you're like when you start learning math you're shit, but they give you an A because you calculated 2 plus 2. That makes you happy. Like, oh my god, like I should continue with this. And then at some point you're like calculating integrals or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, if no one teaches you, if someone just tells you, come on, calculate this integral, you'll be like, oh shit, you'll lose the bus if there was any. Like, ah, fuck, I can't do this. You know.
Right.
But this,
But there also, yeah, school is a good example because also there's many ways to beat it, right? Because you have kids that'll be like cheating, and that's a way to go around it. That's a way to get over it. There's other kids that will learn it, and they'll be this way, just like the hardcore learning way. There are other kids that are talented,
yeah,
they'll
but
just
if you
understand it. There are
cheat,
other
you
kids
don't
that
really get any of the positives from that. you know, it's like you didn't do
well, you
anything.
beat the
Yeah.
game, right? I mean, at the end, you're over. You get the grades, you get you get the reward, like you get to university or whatever, the next stage in life, you move on,
Mm.
and you get some for you, like you justify it somehow, like you make it your own game in a sense. Like it has a lot of ways to, like a lot of
Yeah, but you
skill
just
trees,
get the
like
outside.
you develop skills to cheat. Maybe these kids
You
they
don't
get, I don't know,
develop
they
anything.
become
Oh
cheaters in
yeah,
life.
sure, yeah. That's yeah. Yeah, sure. You get better in cheating, yeah.
I mean, you could. Yeah, because like you, and also think about it, like in the group of kids, it's you have a group, you have your class, so you have like different characters, different assets, different resources in that group. You can decide like how do you want to
Who you
play them,
wanna
you know?
fuck in the end? Like it's all the Witcher for you now.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's different ways to play the game, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
But
yeah,
I don't know, it's easy to lose this, like to fall into this. Either if it's money with me, which is, it's like it's so bad and it's good. It's I don't know. It's a weird one. How the fuck they should just fire me? Then I will be happy. But yeah, it's fucked up that we forget. Like we know what it's like, but still at some point we're like, oh my god, I actually haven't felt it in so much.
I don't know, man. I mean, the next thing should be like you should think about like I don't know. Like, where's the buzz now? If this is like what you want to chase and go there, because like to me it sounds like you have a lot of ideas, but I don't know which how do you can do them all at the same level, you know? It's like you can't play 10 games at the same time. You make too little progress, you know? You can beat the frog and then beat like stuff something else, you know? Like you don't have 10 hands to hold 10 sticks, you know?
Yeah, but with games, you don't you get great. Like you pass the tutorial, whatever. Then you reach very high. Like your best, like your maximum is reached super high. Like with Witcher, maybe the first day I knew how to play it, like all the mechanics. I just had to do them afterwards. But yeah, I mean, it's still they still have this. Yeah, that's the real skill like that you get. The real skill is that you like you avoid monsters and jump around back and forth and you click to fight them. But
Yeah.
the underline the one thing that makes this illusion that you're getting better, these numbers that get higher and higher inside the actual game. But the actual mechanic doesn't change. Your actual skill doesn't change. Just your character becomes stronger and your enemies become stronger, but you still fight the same way. Like use the same skill you were using the first day. So that's the fucked up thing in this game. Maybe most games actually.
Hmm.
And yeah, for games you shouldn't play any of them. Just
Yeah, actually, let me open up my
I'm
file
not sure
plan.
if what game is there that you can actually get super. Yeah, the one where you compete with other people. There you can get better forever at this at whatever game, but I don't know. It still doesn't feel right.
And sometimes we talk about this like um, when I don't know if I can say that. If I don't know. But we talk about people from our hometown, let's put it this way. And we think and we wonder. I wonder, you know,
Yeah, the thing is, they tell people from our high school that, of course, after at 12th grade, we all had some level, like we had some knowledge, and now where do we go from here? So yes, a lot of us said, okay, let's go to the capital, let's go to this, let's go to like build up. The thing is, a lot of people just stayed there, and they started some work, like whatever, some work that they could do right away. They didn't need much knowledge for that, and last 10 years they've been just there, and they
yeah,
seem very happy. Like, and
right.
are they wrong? Because
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know. Um, no, I mean, my question is not are they wrong? My question is
happy.
are they happy really? But because the question is like you always make this assumption like okay, let's switch places. Then because I don't know what they're thinking. Unfortunately, these guys I don't stay in touch with them, and that's why I wonder. Like are they thinking oh these guys now they're probably great like we're wondering about them like if what I'm thinking at least is like is their happiness true and because there are two possibilities right you can be happy um like really happy and it could be a meaningful happiness and it could be great or you could be happy just because you're stupid like
Yeah,
I know
but
a
you're
lot of
still
people who
happy,
are
right?
yeah right but that happiness I wouldn't like to have it you know what I mean I don't want to be
Yeah,
the
but okay, so
fool
the thing
who's
is,
like,
you want,
ignorant
okay,
and
so you want
blissful.
to be smart, happy, whatever that means, right? So you're like, oh my god, I achieved this, I'm so
Yeah.
smart and happy right now.
Right. Okay. That's the question. Like, do you think that's possible? Do
Yeah,
you
I
think
think it's
because
possible. You
you've
have
heard this
some
quote many
criteria. Yeah,
times.
you have some criteria. You think you're smart at some by some measure, and you want this to be happy. Okay, but and you achieve it, and then some alien, comes from whatever planet, and it's like, what the fuck, you this fucking monkey here think he's happy. But this alien is like
Right.
transcending the fifth dimension right now. It's like fuck this guy.
So do you think the alien is going to be happy or the alien is the most depressed out of everyone?
I mean, yeah, I think,
Maybe that's why there's no aliens, man, because they were so transcendental and intelligent, they all killed themselves. They all got depressed and
or
they
they
killed
they just
themselves with
didn't visit
lasers
us. They saw
created.
us like fucking monkeys. What the fuck do they know about happiness? And I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think it's separate. You can't measure. I mean, it's subjective. Like happiness is means something for you. You can't measure your own against some other one by your criteria
Yeah, right.
because it won't fit very well. Like
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Like for example, you know someone that's pretty stupid, and they do
by my
something
criteria.
that, well, they could by your own criteria, correct? And they could be doing much better in life, in your opinion, by your own criteria, but
if
they're
I
not. But they're
if I
happy with
was
it,
on their place,
right? Would you want to be
but
there?
I'm on my
No,
place, and I'm doing what I
right.
think I'm doing right.
You know, another thing I was thinking, like, do we really change? Because this is like what you said about the game. Like, you get, basically you're doing still the same thing. Whether it's killing the frog or killing a dragon, it's still the same thing. The same skill is just another level. Don't you think it's similar, like in life? Because a lot of times I'm thinking,
Yeah,
actually, I haven't made that much progress in terms of my ideas. I still have the same questions, and I wonder about the same things as I did when I was, I don't know, 15. I still think about the same things, and just from a different, I don't know, I still acquire more and more information, but I don't solve these problems.
uh, maybe because yeah, it's kind of the same because your problems are ahead of your solutions. I think you saw too much from life. Like you saw too many. I mean, so many things happened to you, like the last 5 years or whatever.
Mm.
So it's kind of life expanded
I, c-
too wide for your experience or whatever. So maybe you haven't caught up to that.
I can tie up also these two questions, like the question about the people who are happy but they're not you, so you can even compare it because it's a different criteria, and the one with the, do you really change? Because I think that's like the key is in the connection of the two. And if you change, you become someone else. And so, yeah, of course, like, there is a. Okay, I'll give you an example because this is like, I'm getting so abstract sometimes that it doesn't make any sense. So I'll give you one example. So I have this friend, and he's been struggling with smoking. He smoked cigarettes for many years, and he's not happy with this, and he's always tried to quit, but he never has the willpower to quit. And if you know anything about like addiction, like a really, really, if you get down like on a psychological level, so someone like him who started smoking since he was, I don't know, like a teenager, and he smoked his entire life. He smoked more than he hasn't smoked, like year wise. For him, every significant moment in his life was with a cigarette in his hand. He identifies with the cigarette. The cigarette is part of his identity. And when something like this latches onto your identity and becomes part of you, you can't just quit cigarettes without killing that part of you that smokes, because like it's almost, you don't exist without them. It's the same way as some people are are getting kind of glued to their emotional distress, and you have people who are in abusive situations. They're in a bad relationship, and then after that they get into another one that's bad, and in another one that's bad, because like they identified with the pain, that
But
suffering that they have, so
that doesn't
like it's
make
part of their
sense.
ego.
Like, is this? The thing is, no,
No, it
but
makes like
it's not like if this person, let's say, some person was in a bad relationship and then he goes in a good one and he's like, oh fuck, that's not for me. I wanna go back to some
yeah.
asshole.
Yeah,
It's not. Is it?
yeah. It feels like they don't belong to it. Like they
Yeah.
feel like this is
Uh,
not right. They come up with some other excuse. They
or
come
even
up with
like
like, oh, I'm not in love. That person is not right.
some subconscious
Yeah,
patterns.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, yeah. It's like your ego has this, like you already, like you think of yourself as someone who deserves only a bad
Yeah, but that's is
relationship. And the
aren't
same
those
thing
things
with
very
the
different?
cigarettes.
Like, does
For in
smoking
that
isn't
example.
smoking more physical? Because
It is many things, but I think in that particular case, it's also very much, psychological. Like it's embedded in his character. So in that sense, if he wants to quit, he has to create a new version of himself. In a sense, he has to die, to create a new version of himself which doesn't smoke. And so in other ways, oftentimes we also have to do the same thing. Like you have to reset the game, or you need to start a new game, where this is not the rules anymore. Now you play it differently. Like you can't change that because you have already like different. You got to start all over again so that you do another build for the character. You know what I mean? You got to reset everything. And it's so difficult when you have those skills because you keep using them, right? You can't just remove them. They're a part of you already. They're in the skill tree.
You mean like smoking?
Just,
uh,
yeah, anything. It could be like those
I
criteria
guess
that
I
make
wouldn't
you
call it a
happy
skill,
that these people have but you don't have,
but
or the criteria that they makes you have a buzz from one thing but doesn't work for someone else.
I think that's different.
That like that's
Like, I don't know. Um, Smoking is it's not about character, I think.
yeah, okay, maybe not. It's not a good example, but in some cases it could be also like I
Yeah,
think
probably in some
part of
like
it.
yeah,
Part
maybe in some exceptions because not everyone gets actually addicted, like physically. Actually, that's a weird one. Like some people just don't get addicted to stuff. There's like some gene or
yeah.
something. I think maybe I'm one of those in some ways. Because I thought I was addicted to coffee. Maybe that's why actually I'm not tired. But the thing is, I stopped it super fast. Like it took me like one day, and maybe now it hit me like 2 months later. But I don't know. And with I've
You haven't had coffee for 2 months?
around that I think yeah. I'm not sure when I exactly stopped, but
Wow, nice. Nobody used to drink a
yeah,
lot,
I
like
drank every
you,
day at
you
least
know.
two every day. I mean actually two. I kept it to two.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
Yeah, 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 I was very careful not to
Well,
get too addicted, like too resistant.
I've had like fucking 5 or 6 or more,
Wait,
like
wait, what? You drink?
ridiculous.
You drink
It
it
doesn't
now
work.
too, right? Hmm.
Yeah, sure.
But you had stopped.
But I don't have to.
Hmm.
Like I don't need to. But I have some left home. If I run out, I might not get more. But
Think that, but
you
that's different.
know,
That's I wouldn't say that's called optimal experience. Like it's not like when you drink coffee or smoking. It's not like this. It's not something that makes you happy. Actually, it's not.
no,
You
no. But the same like abusive relationship. It's not. Doesn't make you happy. These people
yeah.
are sad, and the sadness is part of their experience. They identify with the sadness. So it's so impossible for them to remove it. Anyway, but okay, I don't know. These are fucking difficult questions. I opened up. I tried to open up my fucking Excel thing to look at my plan for my life, but I can't find anything.
Let's.
I don't know.
I
I don't
have
think
to look
it's
at the plan for
interesting.
the podcast. There was one more word there, except that. Zero two words. Oh yeah, this one was is better. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about are we done with this? Did we say anything?
Sure. I mean, we can talk about it for
But
another
did we
five
say? Are
hours.
we
That's
saying
fine. But
anything? Hmm.
no, we came to the
We
conclusion
are wrong.
that it's too
Yeah.
complicated. So we'll return
No,
to it
I'm
next
just
time.
frustrated
I
because
think.
I know the theory. I have been there. I just can't make the step, the leap to go back there because of this.
Well, I don't know, man. It's not as easy as that. Like, it's not as easy as you think. Like, because you're smarter now and you're older and you've tried a bunch of stuff. So it's not as easy to find. Like, I think what you're doing wrong is you expect the same thing to happen as what happened when you were 15. And I don't think it's going to happen because you've tried a little bit of everything now. So there has to be an additional bit of motivation that would will get you in the bus or get you whatever the zone.
Uh,
That's what I
thing
think
is,
because I think it's impossible to replicate it exactly like it was. It's not going to happen in my opinion because it's not like there's nothing that's so unique that you haven't discovered yet,
yeah.
in my opinion.
And the thing is, before the, it's not only that. It's like with the other things before there was, yeah. Maybe the biggest problem is that the more time you spend in something like it's the this fuck there was a great word for it. This the reward is it's getting smaller and smaller. Like it's not like at the beginning you're always like
The
yeah
diminishing returns.
Jesus fuck I'm dead. Yeah, the diminishing returns it's a thing. Because that's like at the first whatever you start doing, it's like always this. Oh my god, I'm progressing so fast right now. I just learned that. I just like every day is like there is some new knowledge that you get to and completely like changes everything you know about this whatever thing you started learning.
Yeah, but also think about it this way. When you were in this situation before, when you discovered programming for the first time, you didn't have anything else but that. Like that was the first time you discover this new thing, and then you latch onto it. It's great. You like it. You get into the zone, and boom, boom, boom. It's there. Now you have that, and you want to do something like your motivation is not the same, because you already have something. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, not just one thing. You have many things. You have the band. You have this. You have everything at different levels. So that's why it's so difficult to make a choice. It's almost like this. What is this? There's also a term for it, like the paradox of choice or something. Like it's
I
in
don't say it's the
marketing.
same
Like
thing. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, when you have like so yeah, like you're
no,
always thinking, oh my god, what if I did the other thing? It's like always this. You're not you're never
like you have
convinced.
something going on. You have many
Yeah,
things
you're
going
never
on.
convinced that that's what you want. That's why I loved like in the
Right. So
the USA restaurants. Like they have like three things, like either chicken or beef or whatever the third one. And here, like you open the Bulgarian menu and everyone's like, "Oh my God, like I don't know what to eat. There's so many options." Everyone was like looking and looking and looking.
yeah, and then when you ask them, like 70% of them are not there, but that's a
Oh
different question.
yeah, yeah, that's yeah. The thing is like it's yeah, exactly. That's fucking. But I'm not sure that applies here because it's not like I'm oh fuck I wanna play guitar and shoot photos. What the fuck am I wanna do? It's like at this point I'm just I don't know. I don't do anything of these two. Like it's last.
I'm gonna tell you, it's like in the game. In the game, in order to get to the point where you're addicted,
Yeah.
where you're in the zone, you have to play a little bit, get the idea, and you boom boom boom, and you get into feedback. What you did is you played a little just so you see the different skills. So, okay, so I know what the buzz is from the guitar. I know from photography. I know from this. I know from that. And now it's just like the game. You're not interested anymore. You're not playing the game anymore. Because I know the game. I didn't even beat it yet, but I know. And the same thing happened to me with the show. So, I never made it, right? I never, in the sense like, okay, what were my goals? Like, what was I thinking back in the day when I was doing the show? Well, I was thinking, okay, a couple of things, right? I was hoping that maybe this thing one day would become big enough that I would quit my job and just do the show. But in order for this to happen, I would either have to have a tremendous amount of followers, right? So I can make money from YouTube or from some related activities, or it has to go mainstream in some other way. So the amount of followers I didn't think I would ever reach because the biggest channels in Bulgaria that I knew, and I knew some of the people involved, they were not even making that much money from that. They were making money from books, they were making money from other things, but not from the channel itself. So I thought, okay, so that's not going to happen because my channel was more niche. It was like I never wanted to do the more mainstream stuff or clickbaity stuff. I could have, but I didn't want to because I had some like whatever standards. Then I thought the other option is go mainstream, like go on TV and start a show on TV. Okay, so I tried that a little bit experience with trying that enough to discourage me, to teach me, to show me how retarded that idea is, because I would surrender all my creative control and have zero power over the end product. And it would be shameful because of how controlled the Bulgarian media is and how little you can actually say. So at the end, I was devastated. I was like, my dream doesn't work. My dream is broken. My dream is not. I need to change. I need to sacrifice my dream and make a new one. So I did that, and but that's what happened. Like I tried it a little bit. I saw the end. I didn't get to the end, but I kind of saw like where this was going, and I said, that's it. I see these emoticons. This is pretty funny.
What?
But I don't know how to
I
do it.
just
Can
tried.
I do it?
I just found it here and clicked it. Yeah, you can. Oh wow, amazing. Damn, that's pretty cool.
I
But
can
you
put
don't
it
see
on
it on
my
the
eye.
stream.
Can I? Does
You
it?
don't see
Is
it on the stream. That's a bug.
they don't see it? All right. Well, anyway, but the point is, like, I didn't get there, but I saw it from afar, and I wasn't interested in it, and I gave up. Like with the game, you play a little bit, eh, I don't need to get to the end. I get the idea. I don't need. I think that's part of your problem too. Like you tried a little bit of everything, And I think I mean, it's not nothing wrong with it. That's great. Like I just think you should change your expectations. I think you expect too much. You expect something magical like fireworks in your heart. Maybe adjust those expectations and then you'll be fine. I think that's the only thing missing. Like you just expect it to be something that was maybe when you were a kid, but it's just like like in love. Like also, when I was a kid, I would see a girl and just like I don't know, sit on a bus and get hard because a girl would sit next to me. It doesn't happen these days, but I don't get like that doesn't mean that yeah, what I'm saying is we evolve, we change as human beings. So you got to play the game the way it's at this level, or give up. And why give up,
Yeah, maybe it's also more to our age, which would be very sad. I don't want this to be the case. But we're probably like this way where that's how we're constructed. I mean, you can see that everywhere.
And
Like
for sure.
everyone is doing like their whole growth and their whole achievements. They'll happen before they're 30. Like when they're 20s or whatever. That's when you're like most motivated, and you know that's.
Well, it depends on the field, but I mean, there's many exceptions.
But
But
it
I mean,
makes
yeah,
sense.
sure,
It
you
makes
you
sense
test your
biologically,
assumptions
right?
at least.
Because you have this
Yeah,
uh, inner.
you have the power. You got the
No, because you haven't. That's like the
Yeah,
age
yeah,
when you multiply. It's before that. So we have these mechanisms inside
yeah,
ours, like to impress the females or whatever. I mean, not whatever. It's only
right.
that actually, because in evolution, that's the most important thing to multiply. So we have these.
Yeah, and also to you got to protect yourself at that point, right? Because you got to protect yourself and the little babies the most. Afterwards, when the
Yeah,
babies grow,
you're like,
they don't need that
yeah,
much protection, and you can die off. At that point, like fuck you. Like when they can
yeah. You
already
should
walk and talk
should
and
save resources for them. Like you don't need the energy for anything. Just if you haven't multiplied, then you're not that
yeah,
good
no, it's
anyway.
for sure it's part of it. For sure it's part of it, man. But what can you do? But also these things also kind of change, nowadays they kind of postponed a little bit. But I mean, I don't know, man. I think, listen, man, I think it's like first world problems we're having. I think we're doing okay anyway. I mean, you're doing okay, but I should be the one worried. But I like I'm just trying at the moment not to make
The
rash
things,
decisions. I'm trying to think
maybe my
things
point is
and
just to figure out what is the reasoning for everything, and then maybe come up with some solution for that reason,
yeah.
or just suicide.
No, man, come on. Like,
Oh no. Yeah, we should talk about this.
yeah, and also you have also, I think, even if you're after the fireworks, even if that's the case, I think there's still maybe things you can experiment with which you haven't tried. I mean, you're gonna go to Peru, that's one thing. You could do this Thailand thing
Yeah,
if you
and
want
this
to do.
fucking
That's
virus.
these things. If you do these things, also they'll teach you. Like in general, like one thing I almost can't believe about you is how you're not into travel. And I've always thought about, like, there are many people who are like this. It's not like you're unique in this department. Like there are people who don't like to travel. But I always felt about these people that they just haven't discovered traveling yet. They just haven't found that experience yet. And I think
Okay, so
maybe,
why
I don't
why do
know,
you why do you
try.
like it so much? Things, yeah, I understand why you like it because you kind of you constantly do so many things when you travel. But there are people that just
Right.
walk around and watch buildings like that building, this building,
Yeah,
and
well, don't do
yeah,
that.
but I mean there are people like that and they say I'm a traveler, I love traveling, but that's what all they do,
Yeah.
like just watch at buildings
Yeah.
and maybe visit some bar or I don't know.
I think those are like the category of not particularly developed people, they're
Things
admiring
that's what
buildings
I
like the
don't
apes.
like. I love traveling, like for example there for this swing or like some concerts or some swing festival. I love that, it's amazing. But because I experienced this whole
Mm,
thing that I like doing, I just experience it in some another place. Like there's some different perspective it gives you.
yeah.
Like see how people there
Yeah.
experience this thing that you love here. You know.
Right. Yeah, so in other words, what I'm trying to say is there's still many things you could try, and now you can afford to try them. So you're perfect, man. Like what a lot of people do, especially at our age, like specifically at this moment, especially when I've traveled, I met a lot of people at this age where they do this. Like I'm talking about a lot of people, for example, in Australia, it's a popular thing to do. And in the States, it's Germany. A lot of Germans are doing this. They just take a year off, man. They say,
Yeah,
fuck it. Listen, I can't make a decision. I can't come up with it. I can't. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Fuck it.
that's
I have
actually
some
a
money.
great
I'll just travel
decision.
around. Yeah.
Because yeah, I should do that. I think. Yeah, I'll fucking do
Yeah.
that.
Take some time off to walk, do the things you love
Yeah,
that don't
that's my
make you,
plan. It's just
well, that
not
don't,
very well defined.
that you don't regret, things that you make you happy. You do this, and then you come back and you're informed. You know, you've learned something about yourself. You've learned something about the world. You've learned something. You know, the only potential fear I have, especially, well, maybe not with you, but with some people, it's like, you know, maybe then afterwards you kind of, if you don't plan it well, because that sort of thing, I believe you should plan it well, especially financially, because if you don't, you run the risk of,
Dying.
well, no, no, making like desperate decision at the end of this.
Mm,
Like when you're done with this, and then you're like, "Oh, I still don't know." So let's just do that. You know, like you default to
mm.
whatever, you default to the default state. You know, which like for example, you get another job similar like you have now, and you love it for a while, and then you don't. So in order to avoid that, you know, you should plan it. That's the only way out. And then if you do, then you potentially can have a great idea, and you can even test that idea somehow while you're or resting or traveling, because it could be resting, it could be, you know, whatever you do that's going to be productive and healthy, and not just like laying in bed, you know, but actually like active rest. Let's put it this way. Um, and that's one of the things I'm considering too. You know, maybe I should do that, but I don't know. The only thing with me is like, because I know it's not going to be completely rest, because I'm going to be writing and doing that, but because I like I have already some knowledge of what I want to do, like with the writing at least. That's the closest I know. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that changes
I mean,
again,
yeah, of course, you
but at
should do
least for the moment,
something.
that's
If
what I.
you take a year off just to rest, how?
No, no, no. Of
Yeah,
course, I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be doing this, but
Yeah, the thing is,
I don't
there's no
know.
other option. You shouldn't rest for a year. You should do something.
Yeah, some people do that. Some people just rest. I mean, or do travel, or they just
That's
whatever. They do something. They
just like the
meditate.
game. I don't know, but that's also I don't know. This kind of contradicts everything I'm thinking. Like, how do they even do that? Why are they having with like
What's
how
that?
do they achieve this constant rest for a year? Like, it makes no sense. Like, why can't we do that?
I don't know, but it's almost like a tradition in some place. Some people like really like they're in the. I know people who've done it and they love it, and they say some of the greatest memories in their life were from that period, and some of the great moments. And
But
yeah, it's
maybe
I don't
they're
know.
not saying the right thing. Like rest. Probably they did stuff that they loved.
No, they like the ones I know that they traveled. So they traveled for a year.
Yeah, but that
That was
yeah,
they
depends
did.
how you do it. But this can be quite tiring. You know. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's
Well,
not
they don't do
exactly
it the way I
rest.
do it when I do it for 2 weeks, obviously. So they go somewhere, they stay there for a month. They go somewhere else, stay there for a month. Some people take a
Yeah,
train.
but
Like if
what the fuck
there's, you
does
know,
rest mean? I would imagine you just lie under, like lie on the beach, like that's rest. You don't do anything. You don't think about anything. You just lie there.
I don't know. You define it like whatever you think it is. Like it could be that. It could be whatever. It could be living in a farm.
Yeah, but
It could be
you
just
have to
not
take care
working,
after
just not
there.
doing your
Yeah,
career. Because you know a lot of these people, they just fucking
yeah,
work. Like you know, like they have nothing else, just that, and that exhausts them. Like if you have like us, you have this thing where you have the work and you have after work. They don't. They just have work, 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 get drunk, work, 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 get drunk. So then they're like, fuck it, I'm gonna just they go off for a year, you know?
yeah. That's fucked up. I mean, yeah, the best case I guess is when work is your rest or something. Like rest. In their case, I guess rest means doing what you love to do. You know, which is still doing
Yeah. So,
something.
so if I can go back to this Excel just to give you some of the things I was thinking. So I was thinking like bunch of stuff. Like first of all, like it starts with meanwhile a recap of the last few seasons of my life. Then afterwards, after a couple of pages, they have like no. I have, for example, I'm trying to look at different first of all places this is one thing to consider. Maybe not for you. You kind of know. I don't know exactly, but about myself, I mean. But places where you could maybe live. It could be like get like definitely down to a city, uh, or it could be down to a country or an area or something. But you consider like all the places you can be, why you want to be there, and you rate them and you score them. You put them on a scale. Then you have things you could potentially do, and different categories, and then the different jobs, and then pros and cons. And every pro gives you points, every con takes away, and then you have a score at the end. So then you cross contaminate the two, and you try to find which place and which kind of job would give you the most points, and then all of this shit. Like you people can do this. Like I'm telling this to, I don't know, some young people who are listening who might be doing this stuff to help themselves. You could try this. Anyway, what was the other word we were talking about?
I don't know. It's a long one. It's a nice one. Maybe keep it first because it's like 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Ah,
um,
okay.
but yeah, can maybe wrap this up somehow or talk about something smaller. I'm dying. um, I don't know, but I don't know. This I would do something like that, but I don't know if it makes sense. The thing is, like switching place. Sure, yeah, okay. Well, say I go somewhere in Europe, like which I've done, but I think it's still kind of the same life. You still like have the bus, the tram, or the car, or whatever. You have these people working, and you have to find your place there to work with them. Yeah, maybe the standard is higher, or like the quality of life, maybe. The thing is, if I
Well, if it
what if
matters to you, if that matters. If
why
it
why don't you
doesn't,
like
you're
go
right.
why don't you go to
If it
like
doesn't,
Africa and feed lions for 1 year, like something. I know people,
oh
yeah.
yeah, some people do that, like
Yeah, but the
volunteer
thing is
shit.
it's
They're like
super cheap
teach
too. Yeah,
kids.
exactly. You volunteer, so you do work, you not for money but to survive there, like to get food or whatever.
Yeah, and but you have to be careful just with one thing, because sometimes there are like
Uh,
scams in those. Like for example, they have like some people that like you pay this fee and then we give you, and they just like scam you, just take a bunch of money from you. But besides that, if you find a place that's legit, this is a great thing. It's another interesting way to
it's like
spend time.
like yeah,
And that
I'll
act.
sign up to feed lions, and you go and some lion eats you. Well, good job, you fed the
Yeah,
lion.
sign this document and pay us a bunch of money, and then you go. Yeah, I mean, there's many options, man. I think we are pretty fortunate when it comes to options.
Not right now.
I mean, beside if right now,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
in
And
general, like
still, we don't do much with them.
yeah, I'm telling you, maybe it's the option
No, it's not the
paradox.
option
Like we have
paradox.
too
It's
many
the
things
capitalism
to.
paradox. Because we think about this, the
What's that?
capitalism paradox. I don't know. I just made it up. But it's this pressure for, because now the times you have to have a place to live. You can't just live on the rent forever. So, so that requires.
No, you can. Some people do. Some
Yeah,
people
they
are like
do,
that.
but
Some people
how do
don't
they see
fucking get.
the? Yeah, yeah, some do, but still there is this fear of the future. Like, you have to have.
No, if you think about it, in the States, it's like so bad. Like these people they're
Yeah, that's
getting
the
born
worst.
into
Yeah,
debt.
that's the most
Their whole life
extreme
they're in
example of
debt.
that. But still, it happens here too. I mean, most people are not scared because they have too many options. They're scared because they don't want to lose their job when they're back or whatever. Like, they don't want to invest their money in that, then be back with like just like when where they were before.
I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid, but I'm to the point where it's like the opposite. I'm thinking, fuck
Yeah,
this. Like I'm thinking, what is this for? If if it's just me, if I die
yeah, I know,
tomorrow,
and that's the
no one
right way to.
cares. No one
That's
cares.
the
You know what I mean?
purest way you can look at it. But yeah, you have the options problem, not most people, you know, because I guess yeah, you don't care about that, and I know I shouldn't too, but I do. It's very fucked up.
Well, at least if you stop now, it's fine because you already taken care of large amounts of it. But I mean, that's the thing. Like like you say at the beginning about the like our friends back home. Everyone is different, so you can't compare yourself. Like if I was comparing myself with you, I would be really sad now because
Thanks.
like you're really accomplished in that sense, and you've done very well for yourself. So I try not to because, but I try not to because like you said, there's different principles. For me, I didn't want necessarily that. Like I had other priorities. I didn't end up like I'm not backwards rationalizing myself like, oh, I failed, so I guess I'm happy with failing now. It's not that. It's like I'm here because that's what I wanted ultimately. You know what I mean? Um, and everyone makes like that decision. Um,
Uh, I don't know.
I in that sense, like I'm happy. I'm in peace. I own my decisions. I'm not ashamed of my actions. The only thing I'm thinking about is the future. That's the
Yeah,
only
we're so
thing.
different in our
Because I
situations.
think
So weird. You're at peace,
yeah,
apparently.
I'm only thinking.
Anyway. I don't know, apparently
Was
you're in
that?
peace and I'm not. So, yeah. You know,
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about I'm trying to solve other problems. See, like if I was like you, I would be completely in shock now and shaking somewhere and crying because I would have to be like, oh my God, I get this huge problem to solve, you know. But I'm thinking, no, 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 I got this huge problem to solve, and I think that's bigger. Like having a meaningful pursuit in life, because at the end of the day when I go down, all this money, it's so maybe that's it, maybe it's death that changed me. Maybe it's my parents dying, and because my father was like this and my mother was, they were both like this. So when they were alive, like maybe it was rebellion that I was thinking, I don't want to be like that, I don't care about that, I
yeah, I
don't care about
noticed
money.
in
But
The Witcher you were
um
like that.
yeah, maybe it's it was rebellion, but now I don't think it is. Now it's just realizing, well, they were like that, and what difference does it make now to them? Zero. Makes no difference. All
Well,
I
of course, I mean,
see is that
once you're
like my dad, like all his cries, all of his all of the effort that he put, all of the years of his life that he shed because of financial concerns. And ultimately it was like I'm thinking now, what the fuck, man, why were you even like, who gives a fuck? So maybe I'm not right, maybe
I
that's
mean, I
like
don't think I'm
one way
that
to
bad
react.
because I've seen so much worse even around me. Like my one of my colleagues is crazy with these things, and I see that in my father too. Like, but I think that's a generational problem because they lived through one crisis, like where they lost everything. So maybe
No.
after,
And I'm not like, I also seen much worse. Like, with the people where, some places I've been, and people who travel, they're kind of reckless. They're really reckless. They're like running around waiting to crash. You know what I mean? Like just flying around. You see something's broke. Like you have a drone that's fucked up, and you fly, and you're just like, oh, it's gonna crash any moment. But let me really like
what do you
before
mean?
it
What do you mean?
crashes. So they're really reckless. I
Ah,
mean, financially, they're like in debt, or whatever. But I have savings, and I'm fine. In that sense, it's not bad. But I could, theoretically, where I'm coming from, I should be constantly worried about it, right? I should be constantly just thinking about that, and I think I should be. I mean, I think it's I don't know, but the thing is, at the moment, that's what I'm thinking. I want to take advantage of the fact that I got no one else at the moment who is relying on me so that I can solve these bigger problems. Because if I had now kids and family and whatever, I wouldn't have the luxury to have this discussion with you. I'll be like, dude, no, I don't have time. I gotta be looking for whatever careers and money and everything
mm,
now, And I don't think I would be happy with this because of who I am. Maybe some people would be happy with it. They'll be like, yeah, that's exactly what I needed, man. I'm making the money, and now it's meaningful because it's feeding the family. But for me, it's like, damn, I never cared about it, and now I have to do it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So for me, it's like, let me solve the other issue, and then maybe that will be a side effect of that if I'm lucky. If not, I never cared about it, never negotiated for money, and none of the jobs I ever had never asked for anything. Never, money was never the priority for me. I was like, yeah, you give me this, okay, whatever. That is, you know. So like I'm a simple guy in that sense, but yeah, I don't know. Um, Everyone is different, but you got to be as long as you're not making things that are jeopardizing your own health and the
No, it's
people
not like
around you,
I
then you
need
should
it
be
that
okay,
much.
I
The thing
guess.
is, I mean, also with this crisis, I don't know. It was so much easier like last year. You know that okay, I put this money away, I'll invest it in whatever thing. It's like this 8% return every year. So in 20 years I'll have this, and I will because I don't trust like the yeah, I guess I'll say what I said I won't say. But I don't trust like these pension funds. Like they fucked the previous generation hard, and it was again should have been so secure.
Yeah,
So these things they mean nothing if you don't
right,
take care of it yourself somehow. But again it means
for
nothing.
sure.
Like there's no way to. Sure, you can invest in some other fund that's not like the main one that by law requires. But still, it's not secure. But yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, this whole anxiety, it makes no sense.
But I'll tell you another thing. I tell you this problem with the pension funds. This is a particular problem, not with the funds itself, but the problem that we have to think about it. I think is a very big issue in particular for where we're coming from. Because I tell you, even if you go as far as Poland, if you go a little bit further, I mean, this is again maybe I don't know, it's a case by case, right? It's family by family. Let's put it this way. But it's my belief that if you have a family, the family takes care, you know, ultimately. So you know, like in my opinion, you do your job right as a parent. Like you know, it shouldn't be that you know you have kids just to put this responsibility on them. But ultimately, it's you know that's part of the solution. I mean, you know, like it's only in Bulgaria that people rely so much on old people. Like really, they rely on them a lot. Like young people rely on them to like you know you have this thing like people living with their parents until they're 40 but they're getting money from their parents until they're whatever they get financial help they get the grandparents raise the kids like this is all fucking backwards this is all fucked up and of course it's also the old folk that they accept that because they should be like fuck this you take care of this like what the fuck is that but they don't and it's really it's messed up you know so I think it's a lot of this is when it comes to how you raise your kids and how the family is raised and you know I would never like you know it was never a question like my parents like you know I supported them when I was making money and you know like this is not never even crossed my mind that this is I mean come on like you would leave your parents you make a lot of money and they make like a miserable fucking pension and you just like yeah but that's what they figured out they didn't think like Steph you know see Steph now see these fuckers so fuck them but you know anyway those are fucking very I don't know if we're even gonna but that's the problem right people say I don't know if I'm gonna live this long and then they live this long but even worse than that I think is healthcare that's like the biggest problem right because I think imagine now you have this problem and then you have like your health fucks up because you're old and you get shit you know happen to you and then like what the fuck happens then you know like when everything costs a lot and then you're fucked
Yeah, the thing
and
is, what? Sure, you'll
goddamn
save something, but what are you going to do with it when you can't move a lot and you have no energy for anything? It's so weird.
yeah.
Uh, but
And
that's
so
the
yeah,
whole
so my
capitalism.
thing
That's
is
the
like
whole
you should
capitalism. That's
so
what I meant. It's not the.
get a family man because that like you know you have people you love these kids you know regardless. Like if you're alone and you just have all this money, that's not gonna mean anything. It's all waste.
Yeah, I
Like it
know.
doesn't matter.
I'm
Who do
not
you
saying
give
I
this?
will do that.
At the end, you
I'm
give
not
it to
saying
a
I'll do
charity.
that. But yeah, you're right. I I mean everything you say,
And
I
also,
know it.
yeah,
But and I was very convinced to take some actions, but and I was again convinced. Actually, this Peru was my. Oh, I just pressed the button and something happened. Um, this Peru money was my hope for fixing everything. Because I had it like planned. Okay, I'll do that, and I had no option because I don't have enough days off for that. So I had to just quit to do that. But now it's not happening because this fucking virus. But right after
Yeah.
it, I'm doing it. That's my
Yeah, well, just I don't
things
know.
right
Don't
now. I
get
don't.
like.
I'm not. Yeah, it gets worse and worse. Like like this can't last forever. Like you need motivation to be like productive at work or whatever. If you just do that for money, especially in my case, people notice it like not in any other way, but in productiveness. Like it's not like I try to learn new things all the time or whatever. So this situation I'm in, it won't last forever. And maybe it's the best thing to do right now for me, especially now with this.
You mean like you mean you're gonna run
No, no,
out
no,
of
no, no. I
money and then you
mean,
have to go
no,
back?
no. I mean, right now where I'm not sure what the fuck I want. Maybe it's better just to go with the flow, until the flow lasts. And then, but now with this virus, it's a whole different thing there. That nothing is sure right now what is going to happen anywhere. So I don't know. I'll just wait for this to pass,
Yeah.
then I'll go to Peru, like right after,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
hopefully.
for sure. No, this is gonna help, but like
Yeah, I
you
know I
know,
shouldn't count
it's
everything on it,
yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not a magical solution, it's
well, it
a
sounds
lot
like
of
it.
stuff that
You said
you're gonna know
okay.
already.
Well, it did help you a lot,
Yeah.
right? And
Of
wasn't it
course,
magic?
yeah. I mean, oh, yeah, it's insane. Like I would love to go back again, just to see the people again, and like this is cool. Like when you go, uh, and then we have already like three people that have been there, like you, Mitko, and me, and then we got to do a fucking reunion,
Oh yeah, we
all
should.
three of us and Christopher, and that's gonna be awesome. Um,
Oh yeah, we should
and maybe
invite
they
him. We should invite him to Bulgaria. That would be the shit.
yeah, we can fucking chip in, pay,
He was
get him a
supposed to come to
ticket or whatever.
Amsterdam, but now he's not coming.
Yeah, god damn it, man, this is so fucking shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But anyway,
well,
the
this
thing is, we
how
can't
long?
really come up with a solution right now for anything with our problems because the situation is fucked up.
No, but that's good because now all we can do is think,
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
and you make a plan, and then you're like, yeah, let's try it. Now we stop, because yeah, I think that's the best we can do.
1 hour and 27 minutes.
All right. Any comments? Anyone write? I'm really
Nope.
I'm disappointed with you people. Why don't you watch this?
No, they're watching, but they're not. It's fine. I don't think today was very
Hmm.
good one. Anyway, at least I'm not
No,
happy
today
with
was a more
myself.
thoughtful one.
It
It's
wasn't.
more
My thoughts were scrambled.
today,
I thought I had a point, but at the end, nothing happened.
but because of the corona you have
Oh
it
yeah, I
and
have the
it's
virus.
like
Yeah.
affecting your thoughts.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's true. Actually, I thought about it in the
Yeah.
beginning. Like something's wrong with me.
Do you have problems
No,
breathing?
no, no. I just have problems existing. Oh, I can say it. No, just existing, just being there. It's like I'm not there. What is this? Is this beer
Yeah.
for me? I don't know.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
And also, I fucked up something else. I have to uh,
Tell me.
confess to my priest. I
Well,
booked an appointment tomorrow for the hairdresser.
is that still a thing? Does that work?
What? Ah, the point. Oh yeah, you're not shocked?
Yeah.
Uh,
The hairdressers are open?
yeah, here, yeah. Actually, a lot of things are open here. Like the last week, my favorite, how do you say this? It's not candy place, but place for like cakes, whatever. How do you call this? Candy shop.
Okay.
It's not candy, but yeah, they opened last
Bakery? I
week,
don't know.
and of course, I
Okay.
was like, oh my god, it's my favorite place. So obviously they have troubles. So I've been going there and buying all these random cakes and whatever. So I keep them floating. I'm like probably one of their
Yeah.
three customers. But yeah, it's fact. Like, apparently, people are struggling here. It's not like they're trusting the government to help them with their stuff. So yeah, they opened.
You mean businesses?
Yeah.
It's not about trusting government. It's about being responsible. This is fucking stupid. Like they should close down. It's
Yeah, but their whole
Yeah.
business will fail. They'll die.
Well, I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, I mean, it's not their fault. Obviously, they want to be open. I
Yeah.
understand the business. I don't understand the country that allows it, but
No,
it's
but
a
they can't
different
just. They
matter.
should have some like in USA. They're sending everyone money, like I don't know how many, $3,000 or whatever,
Mm.
which is weird. Like, as far as I know, they're not printing it, but I mean, eventually it gets into like flow, into the flow of money.
Yeah.
Like they're doing bonds. It's not exactly money, but I don't know. I'm not sure actually. The thing is, yeah, like now there are more dollars, so the value will deteriorate. But people have money. I mean, that's one way to keep things afloat. People won't rebel or won't. They'll have food for these 3 months or how
Yeah.
long it's. But here, I'm not sure that they're doing anything about it. They're just. They give some promises, I think, but I'm not sure they'll. Do you think they'll do anything here? Like, would you trust
Like
them to
what?
do anything? Like anything to. Yeah, sure. They say, okay, you can pay your tax later, not now, or whatever. But this won't help you. Like 3 months, you won't get any like cash flow. Like you won't get any money at all from anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to pay your tax, but what about your life? I don't know. I
True.
don't think anyone is getting money here. So what do you think they should do? Like I don't know. They have to pay rent and stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
it's hard one.
I don't know, man. It's hard. People are taking a hit. Everyone is.
Things
Like,
uh things uh how responsible are you? Okay, I'm opening my candy shop is open. Like I'm more responsible for
no,
going.
like I said, I think it's if it's about a business, the business will, the goal is money, right? But it should be the country that says, okay, close down everything besides like things that have to be open, like
Yeah, but
grocery
yeah,
stores
yeah,
and
that's right. But
whatever.
will help you, you know. Like
Yeah.
that's what
Okay. Well,
that's
that
what
would be
happened
nice.
with the masks. Like they said, like
Yeah.
2 days
Yeah.
ago they said everyone should wear a mask. That's in the law now. It's obligatory. There's like a 5,000 less fine or whatever. And people are like, what the fuck? Wait a minute, you can't do that. Like it says in the law, like someone found some law that you can't just make anyone have something that costs like this mask costs money. Like you can't make him provide for this thing. Like the government has to give everyone masks and then say you have to wear that. You know, they can't just
Yeah.
make you. So it's kind of the same thing. They can't just say
Yeah.
it's weird.
I
Like
understand. So it's fucked up because it's catch 22. Like they won't
yeah,
close the businesses because they're too fucking cheap to give money to
yeah.
people. So they're instead, yeah, just be open so everyone gets sick because we don't want to pay extra money. God forbid we waste some money on the business. Yeah, again, another great example of fucking Bulgarian government. Fucking
Everything
great.
is great here.
If that's the case. Again, I haven't researched, so I don't know exactly, but
Everything is amazing. Like the people, the government, everyone, the whole chain is full of amazement and wonders. But I don't know. It's a weird time, and yeah, at least it's interesting. Actually, I haven't checked the graph in a whole 7 seconds, and USA
oh
is
yeah,
killing it again, killing themselves. Yeah,
let me
but
see. Oh shit, Spain is also
damn,
on
I
the
wish today's
rise.
topic was more
Shit,
productive. It was a nice one. I just lost my thoughts.
so
So yeah,
it's
tomorrow
almost
will be
ten
1 million.
thousand, and
So we should celebrate the first million. It's insane. It's fucking hell. Uh,
what do you think? How long this is will
a
it
lot.
take? Like you mentioned in Bulgaria, it's
You know how
until
the thing
May.
is
But I
how
mean, what
the
what
way
about the
it works
lockdown?
is however it took until now, it will. I mean, we haven't even reached the like. Okay, I mean, maybe we have reached. I'm not sure about like what peak means. Is it the world peak? I'm not sure what you should look at, but the thing is, whatever it reaches, like whatever time you need to reach the peak, you need more time to go back on the other side, so it goes down on the other side, which is the same amount of time roughly. And then maybe you should wait more afterwards, So it's, however, like how much has been, like 2 months, 2 more months at least, if we are at the peak now, and then who knows?
Do you think the lockdown will last for
Yeah,
2 more months or
at
fuck?
least here, at least 2 months. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. If it should be less. But I think here, or maybe everywhere, it will be like gradual. People will get calmer. Not, they won't just go outside again, and things won't get back to normal right away. But it will be like gradual thing.
Let's don't rely on people. This should be again
Yeah,
imposed. They'll for sure they'll do
yeah,
this.
that's
They
another
will
thing. Yeah.
roll out in parts, right? They'll just say, okay, so first we
Mm.
open this, now we open this, we open this.
Yeah, but like
You
concerts
know,
and big gatherings, probably a lot. Maybe autumn. I would think like the next concert will happen in September, maybe.
yeah, a lot of artists got hit real hard with this.
Yeah, thank God
Um,
we haven't achieved our
yeah.
dreams, and we're not artists.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, what amazes me is how
I need to
logical this
figure out.
is. Like, okay, you need a virus that spreads with no symptoms, and the whole world is not prepared for that, and everything just collapsed. Like such a simple, small thing. It's weird. And
Hmm.
the more scary thing is what will happen afterwards. Like I've read some shit that some governments are taking advantage of this to put some like harder measures and laws to protect that. I mean, in the future to protect against that, but still, these laws can be used for some dark shit, some Stalin stuff, like locking down the country like super fast and
Yeah.
stuff like this, like taking people to like isolating people, like quarantining them, like laws for that and stuff. No, it will be like back in the day where like the
Could be.
this Alexander Sioznik, what was the name, Sioznik book or whatever. Like we go, oh my god, this guy has the virus, like lock him up in
Some
the government.
Johnson.
Okay, sure, it's the law, we have to lock that guy up. Like these things can start happening again.
Maybe that's another interesting issue is like we discover now with this, which things really matter, right? That some things you don't really need. Like for example, you don't need going out to clubs.
Yeah, that's
These
the
fucking all these
first
bitches
thing
crying about
I've
going out to
never
clubs.
missed.
Yeah, no, no, no. I'm giving it as
Yeah,
an
man,
obvious
but do you think
example,
that
but
people?
slowly you discover
Okay,
more,
we do, but do you think people
and then
discover that? Like the people that love doing that?
like, let me get to the point. So the point is, like, maybe we discovered that some jobs and some fucking people are useless. You know what I mean? Like people are fucking useless. Fucking piece of shit. Like now the world won't break because some
Yeah.
people don't exist. So like remember before we didn't talk. Before we talked about like how certain professions wouldn't exist like 50 years ago. That people praised themselves like I'm the best at this field. Like what field? Like what is this? Like what the fuck are you doing? It didn't exist a week ago, and now
Yeah, but
you're the
that's
best in the world.
I
Like,
mean,
all
what
right.
what do I mean? Like we're also useless in that case. Like programming.
No, we're not. We're useless in ways, and in other ways, maybe we're not. And what I'm trying to say is maybe now you discover, okay, that the music really matters because, like, fuck everything else.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's
if this
yeah, okay.
virus was not a like biological virus, but a computer virus, there've been some soft, like, I think in June it was also, and in many other sci-fi books, there's this idea that at some point there's a virus, and Children of Time was similar, right? There's a virus that wipes out all technology and there's no technology anymore, no computer, no artificial intelligence because this virus destroys it. So everything is basic, like sewing machines, and there's nothing like fucking
Mm.
lamps is the most advanced technology. So then people were like, well, what do we do now? You gotta readjust. So the professions, the skill sets are kind of shifting priorities. So like, an artist would still be like, okay, I can, these guys, they're still writing, like we talked about, they're writing songs now, they're
Mm.
doing recording these videos, they're putting out shit. But a lot of people are doing nothing because they're fucking useless anyway. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah, I see
you
what you're
know,
saying.
it's
Yeah,
a
like the
lot
thing
of
is that yeah, obviously we can survive without that, but still some other people are doing their stuff.
no, it's not about it's about like realizing more.
I
I
think
hope
it's
people
about
realize and like,
it's also
ah,
about doing things that no one makes you do them. You know, you're like free and you have all this time. Like, okay, I'll do that. Like, who made you do that? No one. You just wanted to. It's not. No one paid you for this or whatever. Like now there are people, like they're drawing, but I would say that most of what I've seen are some things I've drawn when I was 4. You know, like so terrible. Like what the fuck, man?
yeah,
Like you're 30 years old.
no,
Why do you draw like this? But anyway, yeah, the thing is that people are trying stuff, and yeah, that's maybe yeah, like deep inside, like no one is sending emails right now to sell their product in their free time. Probably, I would assume. You know, they stay at home like, oh, I'll draw
well,
something. Like,
they
yeah, they
are,
probably are,
they
but the
actually
ones
are.
who are
But
like drawing, they're not like they're preferring that to sending the email. You know,
yeah, exactly. I would say this is the thing. Like we should be thinking. You have things to think about. I have things to think about. I think about them. I write these Excel sheets and I write these things and I think and I tell you and I ask you and I think people should do this and everyone should be like now be not be thinking, oh, when when do I go back to the club and get eights again? They should be thinking, the bigger
mm,
questions. Like what is a meaningful fucking life? Like what if this is it? What if from now on
it
we just
can
stay
be.
home?
Well, not that. I mean, that won't be the case, but
Okay,
yeah,
that's stupid,
clubs,
but
clubs,
you
clubs,
know what I mean?
clubs
Like
might
what?
be away for a long, long time. Like it might be a year.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I
Yeah,
hope they're done. Like such a no, if you
yeah,
think about it,
I
it's
know.
the dumbest invention. It's the most primitive and stupid fucking thing. It's
Well,
retarded.
people just go there for
Everyone who's going
this
to
one
clubs are
night
fucking
stand.
retarded.
Like that's the optimal goal there.
Yeah, it's a more expensive version
Yeah,
of Tinder. Tinder is
yeah.
for free, and this you go there and you get wasted, and you gotta wait, and you gotta I don't know,
Wait,
just
like waste
stare
your whole
and
night for
smile.
this.
And anyone who's not aware of this or like, no, but I like no, you're fucking
Yeah, I'm
stupid. You're just
always.
stupid. It's like as if like
It's a
if you take a selfie with a swastika or if I pretend to be a Nazi or something and I go into politics and someone say, you gotta, man, you gotta leave. Like you're stupid. I go, but I didn't know. Whose fault is it? It's my fault because I'm stupid. I should be
I've done
better
this like
informed.
thought
Same
experiment
way as
like with someone who's saying that like they're like, oh, I'm just there for the music, and I go, okay, why don't you play the music at home? Like, oh yeah, but you know there's all these people. Okay, so you're for the people there. It's not the music, and what do you want from these people? Oh yeah, but these people, and eventually it goes to this like one night stand, like hoping for this to happen.
yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point, you know? Like if you enjoy the music so much, you can play
Yeah,
whatever
because
song you want
music
at
at the
home.
clubs is
It's
so great.
obviously not the reason. Actually,
Yeah. You go to a concert for music, and you
no,
go,
it's
I
fine.
don't
It's
know, you
fine. No,
go
no, it's
to
fine to
a
listen
church.
to recorded music and dance. That's great. It's amazing. But if that's the reason, you can do that at home. It's not the reason. Actually, this guy he had like a.
Yeah.
I remember I read this Limi guy from Switzerland. I don't know, he was from Europe. This comic. So he had this really nice. I read his two books with stories. One of the stories was called Dancing or something. The exact same thing. Like there was this guy who was going every day to like clubs, and then it's like at some point he was like he just woke up like Neo from the Matrix. I was like looked around like what the fuck, this guy is just waving his hand like up and down. This other guy is like like I don't know, just twisting around. Like what the fuck are we doing? He was just starting what the hell is happening here? Looking around, and then like the security came and starting beating him. No, he first asked like someone like next near him, what are we doing? He's like what? Like the security like heard him like beat him up. He's like you can't do that, you know. I don't want to like lose my job. Like you can't just spread this idea that everything's so retarded. But anyway, yeah,
Uh,
it was
okay.
yeah, it's a weird one. But it's always this other
Yeah.
reason that people are not very like honest with themselves. I mean, yeah, or maybe that's this because it's like a taboo, like this bad thing. Maybe actually they know why they're there, they just don't acknowledge it. But it's still weird. Like you dance there the
Yes.
whole night, like you're there like 7 hours just for the end result.
There's absolutely nothing. There's fucking nothing
And the thing
positive
is,
I
you
can
also
think
have to
about
get
it.
super
Like,
wasted
if you want to meet
for some reason.
if you want to meet girls, okay, and you think about, okay, it's a playground. It's we played a game. It's the playground. Okay, well, why don't you fucking do it in the middle of the day when, first of all, when you're not drunk and when you actually make decisions that you don't regret the next morning. Why don't you do it when you can hear yourself and your thoughts and your words? Why don't you do it when you don't have to shout, don't you have to stink of smoke and alcohol and step on broken glass and on puke and on I don't give a like why don't you do it in the park and don't and do it in this fucking establishment in some basement in some stinky fucking hole? There's nothing good about it. I cannot think of one thing that's good about clubs. There's not one. There's not one.
Yeah,
There's live performances. I don't call those clubs. Like you go to a piano bar or something, or you go to a stand-up show, you go to a concert. That's different. I don't count that because you go for that experience. Music, you go to listen to the comedian, you go to listen to the show. You don't go buy tickets for a show. Well, some people may do this, but at least there's this other thing that makes sense at the same time. But when there's no thing, there's someone like you say playing records from a USB player. Like from some from Spotify. They play some set list. Then it's like you fucking retarded, man. You sick. You're really stupid. You should read a book. Go home and read a book and grow up.
yeah. So hopefully people. I mean, yeah, that's what means they're not there for the music. Exactly. They should, if they liked music so much, they would prefer to go to a live concert to experience something.
It's a playground and it's a marketplace for drugs,
Yeah.
and that's about it. And it's for whores, and that's it. So marketplace for whores, for drugs, for hookups, and for crime. And like if you want to settle down scores, I don't know. I mean, I'm
Yeah, I
assuming.
mean,
I
it's.
don't
I
know.
guess that's fine. It's like doing something fun for a while. But like it can be like your whole life, your every Friday, and that's actually your only
Yeah,
fun.
and how sad is this that these people don't understand that the only people who have interest in this are whores, drug dealers, criminals. That's the only thing that there's a purpose in it
No,
because I go
there are
there
a
to
lot
sell
of
drugs
there are
or
a
I
lot
go there
of
to.
no, there are a lot of normal people that just don't have anything else to do. Like they
No,
don't
no,
have.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like these normal people, I feel sorry for
Ah,
them because they're the ones that are being played in this
yeah,
game.
yeah,
They're the ones who don't belong in this, and they're convinced that they're cool. Like they think, oh man, it's fucking awesome, man. It's the
yeah.
shit. I can't wait to go there next to Friday. Like
It's
man,
also
if you
weird.
like a girl, don't go there. Ask her out to some nice place. If that's the plan, I'm gonna go there and see that
Oh
chick
yeah,
that
that's also
she's
so
really hot.
weird. Like you probably seen like these couples going there to these places and being there all night. Like that's
Yeah.
also that's also weird. Like what's the reason? Like to show like that they're a couple or I don't know. Like if
It's retarded.
it's again I don't have an explanation for this. Because if you're there for the music again, maybe they do enjoy being from around people, but still it's a weird thing.
I don't know, man. Imagine I go home and we want to go out and hang out. I don't know, man. There's so many nice places to go. I wouldn't go to some shit fucking club. And
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, the only reason is like if we've been hanging out the whole day and we're like, okay, let's go find some girls. And
Drink some tea.
but that's like there are better ways to find girls. There are better places to find girls.
Yeah, but that's the one where you're expected to do that, and like no one will judge you. If you do that in the park, it will be like, what the fuck is this fucking creep? What the fuck are you doing?
No, it's funny enough. It's the opposite in my experience, in the sense that like if you go to the club, they're like, "Bitch, please," because they're used to it because everyone does it in the club. So they're putting the act, they're putting the bitch thing. If you go to the park, the girl is more likely to be herself and she feels more secure because it's like in the middle of the day, in bright daylight, you're not drunk, she's not drunk, so she can protect herself, defend her or whatever. She feels like there's a smaller chance that you might grope her or touch her or do something inappropriate because it's in the middle of the day and there are other people around. So if you come and say something, she'd be like, "Oh wow, that's interesting. Like I'm used to this happening in the club every night, but this is unusual." And so she can have a normal conversation and meet the sober version of you. But that's the problem is the expectations. Once they're used to this club thing, they don't expect park thing, and it could be a shock. It could be a positive shock to be like, oh my, oh that was amazing, man. Or it could be like, what the fuck was that? Like that's not even normal people. You should come to the club when you're drunk and just smash me with a bottle over the head. That's what I'm used to. Like this, what are you doing? Like, what are you nice? What are you stupid? What are you polite? What is that? Are you from the 18th century? Just go to the club and puke in my mouth and let's go down, baby. Let's fucking do it.
I don't know, maybe it's also the
Yeah, we
way
should be funny on this
alcohol.
podcast for a change, like we used to be.
Uh, I was never funny. I mean, if anyone
You
laughed
were
at me,
funny at least once.
if anyone
Why
laughed,
am I
that
wearing
wasn't
this?
because it wasn't intentional.
This hat, what's
It
cool
was,
about it, it looks like a penis.
yeah, oh yeah.
Makes my head look like. But I'm telling you, the problem is that it's a small. Like I ordered too small of a size of it. Like it's like
Dude,
you
I don't
see.
want to see that hat anymore when you say that.
I go
Can
to the
you,
club with it, you know.
can you,
I go to the club and say rub it here, but oh no. Anyway.
can you push it
But
so it doesn't look like that? Like push it from the inside out. I don't know.
you
No.
mean like this? Push this part,
Yeah.
but
No. You can't. No.
you see, it's really nicely done. Like even there's a leaf here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a leaf here.
Oh
That's
yeah.
this thing is like
Wait,
like
so a
this is
real
a whole.
leaf?
This is an entire part. This is one part of one huge part
What?
of a mushroom.
Really?
This yeah,
The whole
it's
thing.
one big part.
The whole
And
thing.
this is like this is another part. This is another part. But this whole thing is one big
Wait, what about
thing.
the well? What about the rope thing around the?
But that's another part of mushroom, but like a twisted one. They do like from different, and they have different color.
What does
Like
it
they
smell
pick
like?
the brighter,
Does it smell like
the dark.
mushrooms?
No, it doesn't smell like anything. It has a interesting smell, like wood maybe, a little bit
Yeah,
like
I guess
timber
they
kind of.
did the same work on it like for preservation or whatever. Like probably they used some.
Yeah.
I
The
don't know.
only thing the guy said is like keep it in a dry place because it's like really moisture
Like a
absorbing, like
like a
anything, like any
sponge.
mushroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it like wet places could spoil it over time. Or you can use the same thing that they use for what is this called? Nabuk. What is the English word for it? You know, velvet. No, velvet. Yeah, velvet. No.
Yeah. Let's say
Uh,
yeah.
what
Velvet.
were the big the Elvis Presley song? Was he singing? No, suede.
Ah.
Blue suede shoes.
Yeah.
So the same things you use to preserve suede, you can use on this.
Velour.
See the way I
Velour.
backwards rationalized it. This is how I'm going to deal with my Alzheimer's when it hits.
Wait,
I'm going to
but
be
that's
that
fucked up. You
song.
can.
Oh yeah, son. Where are you, son?
But the
Wayward
thing
son.
is,
Yeah, where's my son?
yeah, this way better than the why are we discussing life? We should just we don't know anything. But okay, so this hat this sounds sad. Like because you can't go out with it. What if it rains or you're fucked?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's sad. It's like life. It's like the corona. It's like you can't go out now with
So
this
it's
hat.
just for the podcast.
It's a corona hat. It's like it's for staying home hat. You know, that's the. Let's find some news. Like, what is the latest news?
How
Let me
much did
Google the
it cost?
latest
No,
news.
I want to talk about it. How much did it cost?
Was it like a €100 or something? It wasn't very expensive.
No,
Like you can
okay.
find a bunch of more expensive hats in stores, but for
Okay, I guess. I
something
mean, no one is
that's unique,
watching this
handcrafted just for
anyway.
me, for my
Like
dimension.
we began with such this fucking
Do you
delusion.
open a window? Can you share a screen or no?
No, it's hurt. Right now, it should have been compared. It should have been prepared. What? My mind is playing tricks. Oh my god! Like, you know. Oh, you know, I mean, apparently I'm missing this thing, like, because I'm out of Facebook.
Missing what?
But there is some issue about 5G. Are you following this?
I know that it's connected to the corona. It made a
Oh,
corona
wow.
happen.
Oh yeah, there's some conspiracy. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's 5G made the corona, and then it spread with the bats, the 5G bats. They were sitting on the antennas, and they were feeding on the 5G, and then they people fed on the bats. They got the virus, and then they pooped, and then they wiped their ass with the toilet paper, and that's how
How do people do that? Like, how do they believe in something so unbelievable? Like, unreasonable.
I don't know. There's some people that are really into conspiracies, man, and they really fucking
Okay,
love this shit,
so they
and
have
I don't get
this
it, dude.
5Gs. Why would they do it like that? Like if they had some machine that spreads, just put the machine somewhere. Why would they call it 5G so it's like obvious this thing that's there now? Or I guess I don't know, yeah, maybe to hide it. Oh my god, maybe it's real. Oh my god, I believe it now. But anyway, I don't know. The thing is, why do they think if someone wants to wipe them, they'll be like so sneaky about it, you know? Like,
Oh, you think they would announce it? They're
yeah,
like,
they'll
"Yay,
just
we by
come
the
like
way,
with
it was."
the rifles and just kill everyone. Like, okay, like half of you die now.
I That was the case, right? I mean, wasn't it the case that before, like Al Qaeda used to own stuff? Like they would, like something would happen, and Al Qaeda would be like, "Yeah, it was us, by the way, guys." You know, remember those days? Like there would be a something happen, and the terrorist groups or whatever, ISIS, they would say it was us. It's on us. We did this. You know, whether they did it or not, but they would say that. And nowadays, no one is claiming that. So you have a point. Like if it was conspiracy, the reptiles should come out by now and be like, "Guys, we got you, right? We got you this time." They would hate the
I mean,
corona
something
reptile.
doesn't feel right. Like, okay, they wanna wipe people, like kill people, like part of, but why? Like, who and why would wanna do that?
Yeah, who has an interest? Like, imagine like how smart you gotta be. They're like, now they're circulating some videos of Bill Gates from 5 years ago or this and that. They're like, yeah, you see, he knew it. So imagine someone now knows something so complicated
Yeah.
that only if the whole world gets it in at that particular, like with these numbers, there's no prediction, but someone can fucking predict it, all right? Because they did it, right? So they somehow predicted, and
Yeah,
then
but what
maybe
what is their gain? Like, there will be like less people
it's
paying
retarded. It's
taxes.
it's the same people that go to clubs are the people who believe in conspiracies, the
No, I
same
mean
people.
uh, the only winning side of all this is maybe nature. You know, maybe nature gets less destroyed. But who is that mastermind that wants to save nature?
It's like The Witcher, man. It's some creature from nature comes out, and it's like, yeah, I brewed this concoction. Like there you go, and then the people,
Or maybe the
and
point
then it
is
goes
to
down to
have
the
less
lair.
less people to control them easier. But who is that guy who owns the whole world? It's like I'm controlling everyone. They say, oh yeah, there's this organization, I don't know, whatever it's called, like these
You're gonna
five.
be soon contacted by them. They're gonna recruit you with your money. They're gonna be like, excuse me, we need
Yeah,
someone in
sure.
Bulgaria
I don't
with
know. I'm the
to
one.
join our organization of world control. You're gonna get a free corona vaccine, and you get a membership card.
Things I've also thought about it, but I'm thinking about like what would be the point in that? And usually when I go with someone who believes in that stuff, like, oh my god, you're so naive. It's like, okay, I am naive. Of course, everyone wants to kill us. Like, for sure. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
I'm naive, I guess. I don't know. It just.
No, I don't, I've told this many times. I don't like in general the idea that people believe that someone can organize something on such a big scale and no one knows, no one talks.
Mm.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, first, you can't. Like, only one person can do that. Like, who put all these 5G transmitters everywhere? Like, it
Yeah.
was thousands of people that went to the cities.
Well, man, you're pretty naive at the moment. As you know, this has been going on. Like, they're
Okay,
almost
okay,
competing.
let's say they didn't know it. Let's say they just gave them the whole everything, all of them. So all of them had. I mean, you had just have to go a few levels before that. Like, who created them? The thing is, you can't just get to one person who made the decision. You usually get to thousands of them.
Yeah, you know what? I watched recently, these React videos, and they're like fucking everywhere now. These like some expert reacts to something. It's like a fucking virus. It's worse than virus. But anyway, I watched this one which wasn't bad actually. It was a guy who uh, was a criminal for many years, and then did some time for like 12 years, and then now is consulting the CIA or whatever on like robberies in particular. He was a robber. So this guy was talking about different movies and scenes of what they get right and wrong, and he was talking about like the Ocean's movies, Ocean's 11, this 12, this. He's like, well, it's pretty cool, clever what they think, but you know what? The biggest problem with this is even the title. Like Ocean's 11, you never, ever get an operation where you have 11 people or whatever, 10 people, and they run something like this because it's too many people and
Mm.
someone is going to talk. He says, do the math. If you do a huge heist, like in the movie they do 40 million, it's huge, right? But divided by 10 people, You get 4 people for 4 million per person. But then that person can negotiate with the cops, and he could get 5 million. He could get more millions
Mm-hmm.
from the government if he rats on the others, because the government will be like, I'll pay this guy 5 million and I'll get 35 back, because he'll lead me to the other guys. So you
Mm,
never have
yeah,
this
that's.
organization when you have this many people knowing about it.
I don't think
It
that's a
has to
great
be one
example,
person.
but
But with these cases with like something on this scale, you can't have one person doing it. It has to be a huge organization
yeah,
of people knowing about it,
and it's not
or
even 10,
different
it's
people knowing
thousands.
different things. So it's that's the biggest problem with it. Like it's impossible, unfeasible to accomplish such a task.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Thing is, yeah, maybe we do need something like that. Look, there's too many people. They're starting to believe random shit. That's not true. Yeah,
It's
that's the
been
problem
in
with
the
so
clubs
many
for too long.
people. That when you have so many people, you have so many varieties of them. Like the variety function just goes crazy. Like there are all kinds of people with all kinds of opinions, all kinds of shit, whatever, all kinds of delusions, and all kinds of stuff will happen. And they find each other and they multiply their like they I don't know. They feed off each other and
Yeah.
grows. I don't
Uh,
know. I mean, we'll die anyway. So who cares?
yeah. Ben, you know what? You've been thinking about this like um, pension fund. You should start already building a crypt. Like with this money, you can build like a real fancy one, like a whole building
You're
with
right.
the
Yeah,
graveyard.
I should. Yeah.
In Gorna, build a badass big ass crypt, man. Like MTV crypt, MTV crypts. You invite them, and you're like, look at this, man. So on this shelf, I put my fucking grandchildren. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And on
It's
this one,
who'll be
on
laughing
this one
in
is
the afterlife.
yeah. This one is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's what they did back in the day, like these pyramids. That's what they did. Like, oh my god, I'll just build this giant crypt with all my money. They were
man, it's
smart,
crazy
man.
how
They
much
knew what's
people
up.
the cult of death, how much like people are like, fuck this. This is shit. The next life. That's gonna be it. So take everything, man. Take rings, take everything with you, because then put these fucking thing on your eyes like the money, so you pay the guy on the boat, and then when you cross the river. The whole thing they
Are
knew
we
about it. The
making?
whole
Oh,
thing.
that's what we should do, man. We should pretend like it's the 0 year, and we start making the podcast there. Like, what the fuck is up with these witches, man? It's like fucking people. They're doing all these tricks. We have to burn them. Anyway.
Man, it's crazy. Like you could like, I don't know. You don't like someone, bitch. That witch has been breaking spoiled eggs all over the fucking
Breaking
place. She
reality.
cooked me eggs. You know what? Yesterday she did dinner and I saw one of her pubic hairs in the fucking plate. I knew it was bad. I had a terrible nightmare, so I had to hang her. And I let the kids like really, hang on the legs of mommy, so she really like hangs nice and well. Then we put a thing through her heart. It was nice.
Very nice.
But I mean, I don't know, man. What do we know? What if people in the future are looking back at us and thinking like, what are these guys doing? What the fuck are these guys thinking? Uh, I don't know, killing, uh, I don't know, child molesters. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like in the future, people would be cool with that.
Yeah.
People
Oh
would be cool with.
man.
Nowadays, we're cool with witches, right? And the witches are gone. So maybe when we're cool with other stuff, it'll be gone too. Like, yeah, nowadays people are like, well, witches. Yeah, we can interview them for the show. Come on. We can write an article. Where are you, witches? Where are you? And they're not here. They're gone. They're no witches. Where are the witches when you need them? You know what
They
I mean?
burned them all. It helped. They contained
Yeah.
the virus. But why would they? This is not the best thing. Like you can do magic. Like they should use them for some good, not burn them. I don't know.
Right. And that was so unfair, right? Because like God was like always, he never had any like magic. It's like all these poor people and beating their fucking backs and shit. Meanwhile, Satan now puts all kinds of tricks in his people. Like, yeah, you can fly in the forest naked. Like, what kind of power is that? Like, yeah, this bitch, she's crazy, man. This witch, you know what she does? She can suck a donkey's dick. Like, that's crazy, man. You should kill her. Like, come on, man. If she can suck a donkey off, take a hint, man. Like, you can have a lot of fun with this girl. So, like, these people didn't know anything, man.
They were just
But
scared. The media was scaring them.
but they did a lot of like, they did a lot of plants, and there's all these plants. There's like this belladonna, for example. I don't know like this white plant, which is like psychedelic, but it's like a bad psychedelic. Like, it grows everywhere. It grows like in Bulgaria, everywhere, in every country in
Uh,
Europe. But it's terrible and gives you these terrible night, like it's like you're dying or whatever. And they were tripping on this shit, and they did all kinds of potions and lotions and
who?
stuff from all kinds of plants.
Who?
They knew a lot of psychedelic shit. These witches, and only like bad psychedelics, like really really nasty shit.
Hmm.
And they were taking it, and they're like thinking, "Man, I was in hell, and it
But
was
why were they always women? Were they male witchers? It's like,
yeah, I don't know why." But think about it's like
that's a
I don't know.
conspiracy. We should get to the
No,
bottom.
it's like analogies to like feminists, feminism, and back in the day, that's like the only rebellious thing you can do is like you're outside of society for one thing or another.
Uh,
You're banned. You're like a witch. So they go into a forest and they get naked, and like all the lesbians were witches, and all the fucking whatever, like all the cool chicks were witches, you know,
hmm.
and pretty sad.
Now they're
Uh,
influencers, which is
did you watch
sadder.
this movie? Did you watch this movie Midsummer?
Midsummer? No.
Yeah,
Or Mint Summer?
you should
No.
watch this. Midsummer. It's like this
Jesus.
it's a horror movie, but it's a good one. It's this director that made Hereditary. It's his second movie. Both movies are good. Have you seen
God damn it, I haven't
Hereditary?
seen. No, I should have seen it. It was in my plan.